Kia ora everyone. We'd like to welcome you to this webinar today about health, sport and human performance. So we're going to talk today about the Bachelor of Health, Sport and Human Performance program really briefly, and then we're wanting to talk about the Bachelor of Health, Sport and Human Performance papers that are running in Tauranga in Trimester B. My name's Mark Cosgrove and I'm in Te Huataki Waiora, the School of Health, and joining me today are Cherie and Mike from Toiho Mai, and I'll just let them introduce themselves.
Kia ora.
So just to give a little bit of context for our presentation about the two papers that we're offering here in Tauranga this trimester, thought we'd start by introducing the Bachelor of Health, Sport and Human Performance to you, just in case you're thinking of enrolling in that or you are already enrolled in it. The degree is a 3-year degree, and as you can see here, our interest in this degree is about growing knowledgeable individuals who will in turn be able to contribute to the communities of Aotearoa New Zealand. So we are aiming to build leaders in health and sport science, in social development, so things to do with sport, to do with health, to do with policy, to do with physical activity. We're also intending to build leaders who can contribute in the education, coaching and management fields, or into community health and wellbeing. And another key thread that runs through the degree, the broader degree program, is Māori and Indigenous ways of knowing. So just again, a little bit more context for us talking about the two papers in Tauranga. What's really important to note, and you can see here by the three of us presenting today, is that in Tauranga, the Bachelor of Health, Sport and Human Performance is jointly delivered by the University of Waikato and Toiho Mai Institute of Technology. So what that means through this collaboration is that students in our papers get to exposed to lecturers and staff from both institutes and can really draw on the expertise that's offered through this partnership, which is pretty exciting for all of us. One more thing just before we move on to talk more directly about the two papers is that, like other degrees, the Bachelor of Health, Sport and Human Performance has got 8 papers a year, 24 papers in total. And the reason why we thought it'd be useful to maybe start and provide a little bit of context about the degree for this particular presentation is that the two papers that we're going to talk about today, this one here, HSHUP 102, the Fundamentals of Coaching and Instruction, and SDCOA 101 in here, they are both core papers in the degree, so they are compulsory for first year students to do. And that's really important to note because they provide a really important introductory foundation for a whole lot of other things that you then develop, irrespective of your whatever major you choose in the degree. The degree has 3 majors: sport development and coaching, human performance science, and community health. And just to reiterate that point, no matter what major you end up doing, you do both the papers that we're talking about today. So that's just a little bit of background about the Bachelor of Health, Sport and Human Performance for those of you who are attending today who may be, as I said, enrolled or thinking about enrolling. The papers that we are talking about today, though, it's also worth noting, are available as elective papers to people from other degree programs, which some of you may be as well. Okay, moving on. Let's go more directly into talking about these papers, and maybe Mike will just start with this, our first paper that we wanted to introduce.
Thanks, and so looking at fundamentals of coaching and instructing, and I think those two words are important in it, that we're talking in a sport context, but I think many of the skills that you'll learn through the paper will be able to transfer into other areas of your life as well. So that's, I think, a really important point. And we're going to be talking about a lot of the principles that are around coaching, and realising that, that when you're coaching, you're dealing with learners, as you can see there, and learners are central to it, and that'll come through. And the ways of doing that through the models that we'll look at, the strategies that we'll employ, and how we set up environments to optimise that learning for individuals. So I won't read each one of these. You can pause and read yourself at any time. So it is a blended delivery. So the first thing to note is that the lectures are online, and it's important that you view those lectures prior to our Thursday workshops. And those Thursday workshops are down at the QEYC, and they are from 10 till 12. So be ready to go at 10 to 12 on the Thursday of that second week. And Clive Pope is the overall convener of this paper, based Professor Clive Pope in Hamilton, and Marg and myself are the deliverers of the workshops here in Tauranga. You'll have a range of lecturers during the paper, and I'll see you face to face in week 5, actually.
Kia ora, over to me. So, Atavariu, my name's Cherie Cooper, and I'll be leading the workshops here in Tauranga in conjunction with Tom Kavanagh as well, and our Professor Holly Thorpe will be doing all the lectures and so on. It is a core paper of the BHSHP and also for our Diploma in Sport, Recreation and Exercise students here in Tauranga. It's really about broadening your sociological imagination and just taking a step back from what sport appears to be versus to what it is and isn't. It's a wonderful shade of grey as far as your imagination goes. So it's really coming in with an open mind to look at what we can explore and the different facets that this paper has in sport culture and development, the trends and issues. Just some images here just to sort of bring it home about some of the facets within that we'll look at, making sure that you're ready to come with a cup that's willing to be filled with your own experiences that you can share and learning from the shared experience of others. It is immersive, it's discussion based, and we want to make them action workshops where you are doing a lot of thinking and presenting to really broaden that sociological imagination. So as Mike has said about the previous paper, there are online lectures that you are expected to view. Professor Holly Thorpe is wonderfully experienced in this domain, and she's the best of the best. So looking at what she offers in those incredible nuggets that we'll then explore in class between myself and Tom, we'll take you through that exploration, and it'll be Thursday afternoon. So really excited to be able to work with you, and I'm really looking forward to launching your sociological imaginations. Bring it on.
Just this slide here was just to remind people of where the tutorials are. So particularly the afternoon one is 208 on the right that you can see. This is for the SDCOA 101 paper. As we said, with the fundamentals of coach and instruction, we are off campus at the Queen Elizabeth Youth Centre for our practical workshops, which, as Mike has said, are a really important part of this paper. So just to wind up before we open for any questions that you might have, just a couple of things to know that we have division registrars. They are Hamilton based, but these are key people who can provide you with all sorts of degree advice if you're wanting to find out about the Bachelor of Health, Sport and Human Performance in particular. And Courtney is, all three of these folks, Hannah, Joseph and Courtney, are available for that. So if you've ever got any questions, don't hesitate to follow up with these folks. The other thing is, and if you've been in any of the webinars earlier on in the week, that we've got a really strong student services team here in Tauranga. They're located in the hub here in the city campus. We have student advisors, we've got the full gamut of people to support you in terms of providing advice and support, and also really important port of call for pastoral care and guidance. So again, if you're thinking about or you are enrolled in these papers, make sure that you're aware of these great student services here, team that are here as well. Okay, we'll finish just with a few images of this wonderful campus for any of you who may not have been on campus yet. And that's basically it.
Okay.
Okay, I'll talk to the SDCO 101 paper, the Trends and Issues. For assessments for our paper, there is an online test that you'll do after the first 5 weeks of the paper, and you will be expected to cover those first 5 topics. You'll have journals from each themed workshop that we do that you'll be writing to those themes and reflecting on them and adding some literature to that of what your thoughts are regarding that theme. And there's 10 journals that you'll complete over the course of the paper. And then finally there'll be an exam at the end that will wrap up the assessments for this paper.
In terms of HSHUP 102, we also have 3 assessments. One of them is an assessment which builds up tasks or portfolio pieces throughout the semester, so there's about 6 of them.
6 of those.
Yes, and that's worth 40%. There is another task which is looking at a reading and then writing in a narrative style, so just trying to get into exploring and practice some issues of equity in terms of coaching and instruction or in sporting and movement settings. And the third assignment, which is a really exciting one in terms of, and it's an opportunity for you to actually lead a coaching session with your peers and then reflect on that. So yeah, 3 assignments in that as well.
For day 1, for us as a combined team, we're going to have an 11 o'clock meet and greet next Thursday here on the Tauranga campus. The room, to remind me, is
2138, I think that we'll put it out through Moodle.
Yeah, so stay tuned to your emails, and you know, we'd love to meet you. We've got a morning session which is combined with the 2 papers, and then the afternoon will be a practical session for the
HSHUP 102.
HSHUP 102. So really look forward to meeting you there. So please come along. We'd love to see you.
And do I need any in terms of experience? Not life, you know, really it's open. University entrance would be in terms of just the general requirements around that, which people like some of our student support people on either campuses can talk about. But any specific experience, you don't need to be an experienced coach, you don't need to be really experienced or proficient necessarily in sport. Yeah, no.
Yeah, definitely not in the coaching paper.
No.
You know, no experience in that area. Sometimes it can be an advantage, actually.
Yeah.
Definitely, it's a paper that you can start from scratch.
Yeah, come grow your experience with us. Yeah. We look forward to seeing you.
So, should we ask if there's any more questions? Okay.
Thanks for coming, everyone. Look forward to seeing you. Bye for now.